These are the top 10 drone fishing tips of 2025. And the reason that I'm making this video because it's very highly requested. When I draw from Port Arthur all the way to South Powder Island, I see a lot of people doing very sketchy things when they're drone fishing, whether being a complete novice into going straight to shark fishing, to flying in restricted airspace, not flying the correct baits or the correct weights. I'm gonna go ahead and cover all those things. So I compiled a list of the top 10 tips that are gonna make you more successful when you go drone fishing. I'm gonna start with the disclosure. You're gonna get a lot of nonsense online because you are fishing with the drone. And you know, I understand that it's gonna be a lot easier to get out of baits into the ocean with the drone. A lot of us started kayak fishing when we started surf fishing or fishing for sharks. I used to kayak fish all the time. I used to drop my baits with a kayak, and I stopped doing that once I had a child. You know, I felt like I didn't want to take any unnecessary risks. So and then I got into drone fishing. I will say this, you're gonna get a lot of stuff. Forget about it, don't listen to them. Drone fish because you think it's fun, because you're having a blast, because you want to fish for whatever you're fishing for, all right? Do not worry about anybody on the internet. Just worry about yourself and have fun. All right, guys, I do want to mention that I do have a code through swellpro.com, a 10% discount for my viewers that would like to purchase a drone. Use Bomber SWP for 10% off your next drone purchase from swellpro.com. It has to be from the SwellPro website. 10% off, that is huge savings when you buy a drone. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with number 10. This tip is for everybody. If this is the first time using a drone, most people, the first thing they're gonna wanna do is shark fish. Do not start drone fishing because you wanna catch sharks. What I'm gonna say is, before you even start drone fishing, learn how to release sharks. That's very important. The last thing you wanna do is catch a 7-8 foot shark with zero experience on landing a fish. What's gonna happen? You're gonna get bit trying to release the fish. You're gonna hurt the shark more than you already did dragging it in from the shore. You're gonna fail. You don't wanna do that. Learn to release sharks first. Now, one of the tips that I do wanna give you guys is, if you're gonna start shark fishing, trim down the barb. That's gonna make it a much easier, faster release for the shark, but you're not gonna tear up the shark's mouth. It's not gonna delay releasing the shark, because most of the time is what kills the shark is along the fight is the release. Taking way too long to release a fish after fighting it for 5-10 minutes. If you catch a hammerhead shark, you're gonna kill it. More than likely that fish is gonna die if you do not know how to release sharks. That is gonna be the number 10 tip, super important. Do not start drone fishing because you wanna start catching sharks. If you're gonna do that, start with other fish, redfish, drum, jacks, but not sharks until you know how to release them and you can identify them too, okay? Because I see a lot of people, they buy a drone and they want to start shark fishing, they catch a freaking sandbar and say it's a bull shark, they got it out of the water, they get one and pulls up and boom, you got a big tick and now you look dumb on the internet and you're doing bad stuff. So learn to release the sharks and also learn the fish ID of the sharks. All right guys, number 9 is allow your drone to calibrate. Here I'm using the SwellPro FD3. This is my favorite to use because it can calibrate itself. It has really good weight for what I use it for. I don't normally drop gigantic baits. I drop baits along the 2 to 4 pound range. I don't do anything other than that because I fish for other fish, not specifically sharks, but allow your drone to calibrate. See, with the SwellPro FD3 and the Fisher Max and other SwellPros, besides the SD4, they can calibrate themselves. So allow 10 minutes for your drone to calibrate. That is one of the most preventative steps that you can take to prevent your drone from failing, because that's how a lot of drones fail. You know, they don't allow it to calibrate. They pull it out of the box, they immediately fly it out, and then what happened? You didn't allow the drone to calibrate, and now you lost the drone. All right, so the other thing that I like to do to allow it to calibrate, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my remote. Turn the drone on. I'm gonna give it 5 minutes. If within those 5 minutes I have not acquired at least 20 satellites, what shows on the FD3 here on the remote, then I will restart it again. But this is simple insurance. This is gonna prevent you from losing your drone in mid-flight. You gotta allow the drone to calibrate itself and gather the right GPS signal so you can fly it successfully. Number 8, now I'm all about being efficient, so while the drone is calibrating, I do other things. The next step that I take is I get on the app called Air Control and I check my airspace. Very important to check your airspace to fly in the area that you're in. The last thing you want to do is you want to fly in a closed airspace. The FAA will come and you're going to get a fat ticket if you don't listen to those warnings. The only way you're going to know is if you check the airspace on an app. I use the app Air Control. This app here is going to tell me if it's going to locate me via GPS, and I can simply locate and touch the screen, and it's going to show me if there are any warnings or flight restrictions here. So right here at San Luis Pass, I'm going to click this green button here. There are no advisories for this location, so we are safe to fly. Very important, always check your airspace. I see a lot of people flying their drones, and they're flying in all these crazy spots. They're flying in next to towers, they're flying in next to airports. I've seen people fly next to the Pleasure Pier in Galveston. I've seen people fly drones in the Padre Island National Seashore, all which are places that have closed airspace. Don't do that. The reason they do that is for the safety of everybody, okay? Download the app to help you check your airspace. I use Air Control, and I always check this before any flights. All right, guys, the next tip is gonna be
return to home.
Return to home. Now, return to home is a very convenient function that you can use. Right now, I just dropped one bait, so I'm gonna summarize it real quick. Return to home when you're flying it back, but then once that drone gets right above you, control it yourself and land it, okay? It's not always super accurate. For most of the more time being, this is really accurate. But what I like to do is I want to be able to land this where I'm at, control it to prevent any kind of mess up, all right? So let's go ahead and land it right in front of the camera. We didn't take off from here, okay? So we're gonna hit normal. Now we're back to normal. We're landing this by ourselves, okay? We don't want any accidents on a return to home. It's convenient and all, but you have to learn how to land this by yourself. Press it all the way down.
Aircraft locked.
Perfect. I know return to home is really convenient, but only use it to get to where you're at and then you manually land it. Prevent accidents. All right, guys, the next tip, prioritize the battery on your drone. And what I mean by that, when I'm saying prioritize the battery, is always check your battery and fly the biggest bait first. You don't want to fly it second or third, to fly the smallest one, or have actually no plan in no particular order to fly baits. Always fly the biggest bait first. And the reason I say that is because that's going to be the heaviest, that's going to consume the most power out of the battery. So you want to make sure that before you fly the biggest baits, you're fully charged, full battery, and you have all the power you need to fly into the ocean with the biggest bait you can fly out, okay? But remember, always stay within the manufacturer's guidelines. Like this one here can fly out to 4 pounds. I don't fly anything over 4 pounds. I might fly something close to 4 pounds, but I always make sure to stay within the manufacturer recommended settings, okay? Prioritize your baits, fly the biggest bait first, then the second biggest, and after 2 baits, check your battery, and then go from there on flying smaller baits. It's gonna save your battery, it's gonna save you a headache, and you're gonna prevent losing your drone in midair, because sometimes I see a lot of people, they'll fly out 3 baits, they're like, oh, I still got some juice left, let's go ahead and fly this big old fish. They get halfway, the drone runs out of battery, and all of a sudden the drone drops the weight, and it's coming back struggling into the wind, and then boom, down goes the drone. Prevent accidents, okay? Make sure you fly the heaviest drone first. Another tip that I try to tell people is when you're flying out a bait on a conventional reel, turn your clicker off. I've seen a lot of people fly out their drone going like 10 miles an hour on the drone, and the clicker is just freaking screaming, bzzz, super fast, and then like after a few trips, their clicker is done. Do not do that. So what I suggest is either set the drag a little bit to get comfortable with it, but turn the clicker off. But then after, if you feel more comfortable without the drag, what I suggest is putting a glove on or a rubber stopper at the bottom and lightly tapping the spool, giving it some tension. So like that, you do not overrun the conventional reel, because if that happens, if you get an overrun while the drone is flying, what's gonna happen is the drone is gonna immediately stop. Boom, you're gonna get the bird's nest, and you can literally just halt the drone and it's gonna go straight down from that quick overrun. You don't want that to happen. All right, so also you gotta remember, do not add too much tension. The more tension you add, the more drag on the drone, the more battery you're gonna use when you're flying out the baits. All right, so First, turn the clicker off, apply light drag, get used to it. Once you feel like you got the hang of it, just completely take your hand off the drag and use a glove or a rubber stopper to lightly thumb the spool. All right, so the next tip I can give you guys is after a few flights, make sure to double check your propellers to make sure they're still tight, okay? I do this after every battery change, which is typically about 5 flights. Really depending on the wind conditions, depending how far I'm flying out, I make sure to check that all the propellers are nice and tight, okay? Just in case they normally don't come loose, but you still want to double check to have that extra insurance to prevent any accidents. I'm all about preventing accidents. If I have to do triple the work to fly out a bait, then I'm going to do that because I do not want my drone to fall into the water. I don't want the drone to hit somebody. I mean, these things are expensive, but if you fly them right with great caution, you can get a lot of use of this. This FD3 here, I've had this for almost 3 years with 0 accidents. I haven't damaged it. I have changed propellers. I've tested this. I even dropped this in the water to test it out. 0 issues because I follow all the tips that I'm giving you right now, okay? So after every like 5 flights, make sure to double check all the propellers to make sure they're still tight. All right, before I get to all the important tips, I do want to give you a disclosure. This is not a DJI, a Parrot, or any other fully automatic drone. This drone is completely manual, which means it has 0 sensors. You are in full, complete control of this drone. The way that you fly it, land it, yaw it, whatever you're doing with it, you're in full control. It has no geofencing, nothing. So this is really up to you. So what I say is, before you fly out your first bait, make sure you are fully familiar with this drone, okay? Learn how to land it, emergency land it, learn how to maneuver it, yaw up and down, side to side, whatever you have to do to make sure you're able to fly your first bait successfully. A lot of people, they say, oh, I crashed my drone. Well, what happened? They bought the drone. The first thing they do is went to the beach and fly a bait and boom, it dropped without 0 practice. Get familiar with the drone. Do not open the box, fly it straight out. Go to a field, an empty field, and practice. Learn the basic controls. Learn to emergency land it, because that's going to save your money. It's going to save you from losing the drone or hurting somebody. Wow, we are down to the last 2, and these tips are in no particular order. No one tip is more important than the other. But number 2, this is going to be instrumental in ensuring that you do not crash the drone. Carry a weight scale with you. I like to weigh every single bait that I fly, especially when I'm getting to the big baits like going over 5 pounds. These drones are extremely weight and payload dependent, that if you get close to flying to the max payload, you're gonna start sacrificing performance. But once you go over the payload, that's when things start to go wrong. So I like to make sure that I stay at least a few ounces under the payload. And the way that I weigh the baits is I weigh with the leader and the sinker. So I hook everything together and I make sure that the leader's on there, the sinker, and the bait. And the reason that I include the leader, because some of these shark fishing leaders, they're heavy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them weigh a pound with all those dings and whistles on them, all the accessories and stuff, all the hardware. They get close to weighing a pound and they're heavy. I mean, you're over there flying like 20 feet of cable and then like 10 feet of mono, huge crimps, swivels, and all that stuff. It's gonna get heavy. So make sure you bring a scale with you. Always carry this with you. Weigh everything that you fly out and also film it just in case you need a warranty claim or something like that. You want to be able to safeguard and you're going to be able to prove that you're doing everything right. So number 2, use a scale to weigh every single bait that you're flying out. We are finally down to the number 1 tip. Now this one's very important. I save this for last because this is a very simple modification and accessory that you could use to prevent a lot of drone accidents. Use a tether. So the reason that you use a tether to hook your main line to the tether hooks to the bait dropping device, is because when you fly the drone up, this is gonna prevent your line from getting close to the propellers. I've never had an accident with the line getting tangled in the propellers, but with the tether, that's going to be extra insurance and a safeguard to make sure that your line does not get close to the propellers, because if you're flying, let's say you get like a crazy gust out of nowhere, an updraft, something, or you're lowering down and then the wind's pushing up and then your line's gonna get stuck in the propeller and boom, you're done. The tether is gonna prevent from doing that. The tether is gonna be connected from the swivel of your leader, and it's gonna connect to the bait dropping device. You have to use a tether. I like to use Third Coast Fishing tethers. Link in the description. He has outstanding tethers, and that's what I use. That's what I've been using since I've been drone fishing. Great accessory. You have to have a tether. It's gonna prevent so many accidents. Trust me, that is one simple piece of equipment that you have to use. It's gonna save you so much time, it's gonna save you a hassle, and it's gonna prevent any accidents from happening. Use a tether. All right, guys, well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is actually one of the first top 10 drone fishing tip videos that I've done. I used to do a lot of top 10 surf fishing tips also, casting tips, bait fishing tips, jetty tips, but drone fishing is the newest thing, and I've been doing it for about 4 years. And these are I've been doing this for about 4 years, and these are some of the tips that have really helped me preventing an accident. I've never crashed a drone. The longest drone that I've had is the FD3 going on 3 years. I have the FD2 Fisherman Max going on 3 years. I have the SD4 going on 4 years. The FD1 Plus. So I haven't had any accidents. You know, and I've tested them all. I've crashed them in the water. I've landed them in the water. I've flipped them upside down in the water, have them take off. You know, I tested these pretty hard. And the reason I do that is because I want to make sure that I'm not promoting a product. And the reason I do that is because I want to make sure that these products stand up to what they claim. I don't want to spend $1,000, $2,000, and then buying a drone that claims that you can land it on water, that it's waterproof, and then the first time you drop it in the water, boom, it's shot. Nope. So every time that I get these drones, I got to test it, sink it, crash it from 30 feet. I do everything. Everything that the drone claims to do, I will do it and test it. And I do it on video. So like that, people know, hey, you know, and the company is like, oh yeah, you know, I claim that I can do this. All right, well, let's do it. We'll film it and send it to you and see what's up. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope these top 10 drone fishing tips help you become a more successful drone angler, and I hope this helps you prevent accidents, all right? Thanks for watching. I do have a discount code again, BOMBERSWP, 10% off your next drone purchase from swellpro.com. Thanks for watching.